first episode of our show,
Winding Down with the Winseys.
And I'm Jamila Winsey, and my husband...
It's Patrick Winsey.
I know that's kind of weird that we just introduced ourselves, like so unnatural. Yeah. But so this is our first episode, and we're so excited to have this podcast because we've been talking about doing this for a while.
We have, and I'm glad we finally got to it.
So. How long has it been?
Oh man, at least a year and a half. But,
yeah.
Good things come for those who wait. So.
Things keep coming up every time we try, but this time we're very intentional about making sure we actually did it.
So let's tell the folks what this is about.
Okay, so this show, we're Winding Down with the Winseys. It's really about our entrepreneurship journey, right? We love to sit down over a glass of our favorite beverage with our friends. And most of the time we're talking about life, love, and business, our entrepreneurship journey, and just things that we've done to get us to where we are today. And, we'll kind of take some time to introduce everyone to what we do, and so that's what this is about. This is just a series of conversations that lead into several aspects of business. So while we're a married couple, we're really focused on also trying to build other couples like us. Now, of course, we're going to weave in content, bonus content from other entrepreneurs there, but it's also sort of educational too. We're going to be tapping into the different types of ways to grow, to start your business and to scale it. But at the same time, I feel like, one of the things that we always get from people is, how do you guys maintain balance as a married couple or quote unquote a power couple, right? And how do we still show up smiling and don't look like what we've been through?
Well, I don't know that we're that interesting, but nevertheless, you guys will tell us, right? So, but no, I'm definitely excited about it. I think it's going to be definitely action packed, and looking forward to helping folks help their businesses thrive, their relationships thrive. And I think it'll be fun. We'll have guests from all different industries and backgrounds and businesses. And some will be couples, some will be individuals, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's what this show is all about. It is a fun show, but it's also an educational show. So you are going to be getting some nuggets about how to grow your business. And more importantly, it's really going to be about balance and how we really just go through this life. And at the end of the day, we hope that you get a lot of value from it. So our first episode, we figured it would be a great way for you guys to get to know us a little better, right? So who are we? Who are the Winseys? Who's Jamila and Patrick? How did we even get here, right? Yeah. And what is our love story like? So today's all about us. Like, seriously, it's kind of all about us, right?
Yeah, our favorite topic, right?
Well, I am my favorot topic.
And
us
you're my
sometimes.
favorite topic.
Yeah. Oh, you're so sweet. That was really sappy and cheesy, but I liked it. So that's what we're going to be talking about today is our story, our love story. And so Patrick, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about you. Like, you don't have to go all the way to I was born in 1905 or whatever, anything like that.
Wow, okay. I shaved and everything, and I got rid of all the gray.
Before then, we're pairing our conversation today with a glass of Cabernet. So grab a glass and come on the journey with us. So I forgot to mention that earlier. So I wanted to make sure your beverage of choice. You don't have to be an alcoholic like us. Well, high functioning alcoholic like us, but grab something and come on board. All right. So Pat, I'm gonna start with you. You can go ahead. I mean, I'm doing too much talking. Come on.
Well, are you asking a question, or you want me just to?
How did we meet? What was like? Well, just tell.
Well, first I'll start with
your version of the
story.
story.
Who am I, and how do we meet?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm a Houston native, born and raised here. I've lived in other parts of Texas, but mostly here in Houston. So how did we meet? So back in 2002, we were coworkers, colleagues. We were working together. I was a consultant. You were an employee at a particular financial services firm, I guess we'll call it. And nevertheless, we were, colleagues. I was brought on for an assignment, and I don't think you were there that day.
He's giving you the clean version. So I was an overworked employee, just starting my real estate empire, right? I was a real estate investor. And I took a leave of absence because I promised my boss that I was going to quit if she didn't hire somebody to help me. Well, which she did.
so they brought in a professional to get the job done.
Okay.
A professional consultant. And I came in.
Who was earning twice my salary, by the way.
Allegedly, but nevertheless, at this point, it all balances out because I think you spend twice as much now.
Oh, see, you know what?
So anyways, so that's what you get for interrupting my story or my version of our journey.
Whatever.
But nevertheless, no, we definitely were, colleagues, and I don't know that you particularly liked me that much back then. I think it was more of you tolerated me.
No, I did not like you. I almost didn't tolerate you, actually. You were too smart aleck, and way too witty. He was so witty, my brain couldn't catch up. So all I could do was think about violent things I could do to him. And so, the crazy thing, y'all, is that we were actually both married at the time. Ooh, scandal, no. And so
to other people, to be clear.
To other people, not to him, because I just said I did not like him. But we did work closely together. And what was very interesting is through that course of working together, we actually were going through different phases of our lives, right? The first was you having your firstborn son.
Yeah. Later that year.
Who happens to be my youngest son.
Yeah, so I think he's almost 20 now.
He is 20 years old in a few days. Yeah. And happy birthday in advance too, by the way. Tomorrow is your birthday, September 2nd. And, and so Patrick was one of those people. He was very polished and extremely detailed. I was a very free spirit. I still am very free spirit individual. And we didn't really get along from that standpoint, but we had a great working relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so
I think we were definitely entertaining for other people, so to speak. But nevertheless, my job was to ask the tough questions and kind of make significant impacts and progress and what have you. So, and kind of stay out of your way. But
you didn't stay out of my way. People used to come to lunch to watch us argue. It was the most hilarious thing. We argued about everything. Patrick had to one up every conversation. And when he one-upped, I one-upped one-up. So
I've always believed in accuracy, complete accuracy.
Okay, so I'm a Nigerian girl. I was born and raised in Nigeria. And Patrick would use the word, okay, so Nigerian. Is this what we're going through right now? That's what he used to call me, a Nigerian.
You just have creative stories. I
have creative stories.
Yeah, I don't know if that's fair to take that out of context, but nevertheless, at some point, I was there for about a year or so. And then eventually I moved on. And I guess later, a couple of years later, at some point, we came across each other again, professionally. I had moved back to Houston to work at a Fortune, I guess it was a 1,000 company. And as I continue doing the consulting work and, long story short, we ended up having the opportunity to work together again.
We did.
At that point, we were both, I definitely had some personal relationship challenges at that time and was transitioning
personal relationship challenges. He was getting a divorce,
I was
y'all.
transitioning
Do you see what I'm talking about and how polished and proper he is?
Anyways.
Or should I use the word politically correct? Which is actually one of the things I find very endearing about him now. I didn't like it.
But I was transitioning into a different phase of my life. And, so nevertheless, at that point, we crossed paths again. And little did I know, I guess, and I guess you could say for your story, you had some challenges as well at some point along that line as well.
I was also going through a divorce. So essentially, we
didn't know
both found ourselves, we didn't know actually, but we found ourselves at the same crossroads in our lives, right? Trying to figure out what that next step is. So we became very, very fast friends.
Yeah.
But, and we became best friends. Like we would take care of our kids when either one of us were on a date with somebody else.
We just had something else to do.
Yeah. There was always a house or there was always a place in my house became the bachelorette pad because all my single friends and Patrick and his single friends, we all would just hang out at my place. And it was kind of like, the Black version of Friends for a while, I guess. I tried to hook him up with my friends and he wasn't interested from what I was told. It was actually my best friend that told me that you were interested in me.
I think at some point I was just kind of trying to just come down from everything and I really wasn't interested in just fast tracking anything new, I guess, if you will.
Yeah.
So, but it is, was what it was. But,
So the question is, from my perspective, I think the audience wants to know, because we talked about being friends and getting connected, and we hadn't talked about even the real estate journey yet, or our business journey. So when did you actually know that this was the person for you? I was the person for you. Like, you were interested in me. Was it before my friends told me? Because I never really asked them this question.
Well, I mean, I think for me, as I remember it, I mean, it's been so long ago, but at some point we realized we had a lot in common. I enjoyed, being around you. Go figure that, right? And I think it's just one of these things where, you talk about compatibility, but also just clicking and vibing and, energy and what have you. And I just think at some point it just became, and I know people say, oh, you're my best friend or whatever, but I truly started at some point feeling that way. And I'm definitely analytical. I'm not very a trusting person. So for me, working through those feelings was very, was interesting. Yeah. It was very interesting. And once I kind of came to that realization, it was a little scary, especially after, several months before, getting out of a, long-term relationship and marriage and what have you, and being essentially a single parent, and so, protective mode. If I was protecting everything, a little one, myself, heart, if you will. But no, I think at some point, I've always respected you, but, at some point I just realized, that's, I'm that you make me happy, I guess, if you will. And
look at me.
So whatever that translated into over time.
No. That's sweet, babe. Thank you. So I guess the question, I'll reverse the question back on me. So this is a funny story. So I got divorced. I wanted to be single because I got married super early. We're a blended family.
So how old were you when you got married?
I was 18 when I got married. I was this young Nigerian girl who came here dreamy-eyed. Actually, I was supposed to be a doctor growing up. And when I came here, my entire life was kind of like just, upside down. Upside down. I didn't really know what my mission was anymore. When you grow up in Nigeria, they tell you, you be a doctor, a lawyer, your parents tell you what you're going to be, right? And so coming here, I had a few $100 and I had to start my life over again. And I met this guy, and long story short, I got married very early. So obviously that didn't work out. And then we got divorced. And for me at that time in my life, I had started my real estate company. And so I had discretionary income, and I just wanted to be, free to be. Huh? I wanted to be free to be. I wanted to sow my wild oats, so to speak.
whatever that
meant, right? Yeah. And so how I knew was I was actually on a date with someone else, and Pat was he was babysitting. And so it turned out that while I was on this date with this person, whatever this person was saying turned into complete mush, because all I could do was just continuously think about it. He wasn't annoying me as much as you did. That was the problem. And I was like, why is my skin not itching out?
That's what it was.
I was super bored. But I realized all I was thinking about was you and all the times that we had spent together. And I realized that I was like, oh my God, he crept up on me. He is so sneaky. And that was when I know. I didn't tell you, but that's when I knew.
Okay.
And I cut the date short, and I was very irritated and very angry because I didn't want that to happen. I was like, this was my time to be free and fancy. I was driving an XK8 Jag. Wow. You couldn't tell me anything, right?
That's not much has changed.
No.
As far as not being able to tell you anything.
You couldn't tell me. So anyways, so this is a funny story, you guys. So I think at this point, we realized we were starting to have feelings for each other.
Liking on one another.
We're liking on each other. You were extra nice. Yeah. You were a smart aleck anymore. I tell you, this guy, he would be at home. Like I would come home and he would be there, and he would have like my favorite scotch or my favorite wine waiting on me. He'd be cooking. Like he had keys to my house.
Had random keys to your house.
Well, he's babysitting my son too. So that was the thing. You pretty much only one had that much access.
Yeah.
He had house access. And so, so one night, and I tell this story. One night we were doing what we're doing, just talking, drinking wine, or
eating. Yeah, we're always eating.
We're always eating late, and kids sleep or whatever. And everybody had already left. We had people at the house, and we just started having this "What are we doing?" conversation.
What are we doing? Yeah.
And so, as we were talking, music was playing, all of a sudden, Mary J. Blige, "I'm Not in Love" comes on. And then I look at you, and then you look at me, and we had those eyes, right? We were like, I was like, oh,
my good
snap.
eye. I had my good eye.
Right. And so
your good eye.
This is what I did. I ran into the bathroom.
Like a little child.
Like a child. I did. I don't know why was I embarrassed?
I don't know.
And so that was all she wrote, y'all. And he did the cutest thing, right? He did the cutest thing. We did the whole, what are we doing conversation. And then I was like, well, there was really no formal conversation. And so he did the high school thing. What did you do, Patrick?
No, I just say, hey,
what did you do?
So to speak. Yeah. I don't remember the exact words that I used.
You wrote down, will you be my girlfriend?
Something like that.
Yes, no, maybe.
Maybe so. Yeah.
Which was super cute and cheesy at the same time, but I loved it. So I burnt my black book. And here we are. I didn't really have a black book, y'all. I was just kind of pretending like I did. So and here we are. And so
yeah. So I mean, but even with all of that, and with something being so new and fresh, and you ask yourself, hey, am I really feeling what I'm feeling? I mean, I went through all those feelings. I don't know if you did as well. And of course, being both of us were single parents, so that was always a big thing for us. And already having that, the extended relationships, I guess, with the children, and they've been best friends ever since. I believe.
Our sons are best friends. It's the crazy thing close. Is, so my oldest son turns 23 this year, or our oldest son, because we rarely ever use me and him anymore. It's really our kids, and the youngest, who I happen to be there for. The day he was born. Yeah. And I held him a few times actually as a kid, which is like the weirdest thing ever. And not to mention some of the crossroads that we had. So let's talk about some of that. The things that we experienced in our, through our journey of finding each other. And that's why I felt like he was meant to be.
Oh, just some of the paths crossing when we start talking about, okay, so how'd you get to Dallas, and how'd you, that kind of, So, so this is very interesting. When I think about it, I'm just kind of like, think about some of these, weird movies that are out there. But, so when we started sharing information about, well, when did you, we met in the North Dallas area. And so how'd you come to Dallas? And she told me how, and, where have you worked? And she's like, oh, I used to work in that building, and I'm like, well, I worked on the top floor. Says, oh, that was a penthouse, location. And I'm like, I didn't really look at it that way. And then and then later on, we were I sort of talked to her about where I lived at one point, and apparently we had lived there at the same time.
Yeah, we lived in the same apartment complex. Yeah. So I told you guys I came to the country when I was 18. So outside of the waiting tables and putting myself through school and yada yada yada, some conversation we'll stay for another day. The building that he was talking about was one of the first places I got a job as a receptionist. I was making maybe $7.25 an hour. And he used to work in that building. I worked in that building for about 6 months, and he worked there at the same time I worked there. And we lived in the same apartment complex at the same time.
It was what, late 90s?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, like 5 years before we actually
5 years before we actually met.
4.5, yeah.
And and then we lived in the same city. We went to the same grocery stores, and it was like the movie sliding doors. Like we just kept on crossing paths for several years before we even met. And it just so happened that we ended up in the same company around the same time of our lives, and we have literally been inseparable since then. Like we have been inseparable since then.
It was a sign, right?
Yeah, it was a sign, girl. It was a sign, girl.
So you've been stalking. She used to tell people I stalked you. I said, how can I stalk you? I didn't even know you. I don't even remember ever seeing you.
Yeah. And we've seen each other through a lot of things, but even in the same period I was there, I remember when your grandmother passed away. I remember when your cousin had her baby. I remember when your cousins got married. Like you shared those stories with me over time. And the fact that,
what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah, they're all my family now, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
And the interesting part of that journey is I also started my real estate career, my business, so to speak, around the same time we met. Right.
Yeah, on company time, by the way. We can share that now.
Yeah, we can share that now. Our boss at the time is actually one of our best friends.
Still till today, yeah.
Still till today. The woman who is responsible for making sure.
Or to blame. Yeah, I guess responsible is the right word. Either way, good or bad, right?
And he would come to my cubicle and I'd be doing real estate deals.
Yeah, I would pull stuff off the printer and I'm like, you might want to take
putting contracts, having closings in the conference rooms, pretending as I was having meetings.
Pretty bold. Yeah.
It was pretty bad. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't realize what I was doing.
And she would share deal information with me and, I'm going to make this much money this month. And, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And just a lot of the exciting parts of deals. And, so at some point, I had my own aspirations as well because I come from a family where, in another state where I owned several properties and things of that nature. So I always had interest in it. But I didn't have a license at the time. And apparently neither did you, even though you were practicing.
I did not have a license at this time. Well, I was buying and selling.
As an investor, but
some gray areas there where we'll save that for the next episode, actually.
But it piqued my interest. And so when we had more and more conversations about it, I was like, you know what? It might be something I might pursue part-time and what have you. So again, more commonality and things that, we had common interests, I guess.
Exactly. So, what else? That's the nutshell of it, right? I think the beautiful thing about our relationship is that we listen to each other and we play our roles.
I listen to you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have to listen to me. That's kind of the way it works.
Yeah, to keep the peace. Right. No trouble. Right.
But we do. We are true partners, though. Pat used to help me with my real estate business when I started. It's crazy because it was just that natural thing. He was the natural person to go to because I felt like he understood what I was going through, or just, I don't know. It was just a natural thing. So it was natural for us to go into business with each other. And
and I think a lot of it, once you build that trust and working together, you know how people are wired, and it's funny because even to this day, she tells people, well, Patrick speaks Jamila. He knows what I mean when I say this, and other people are confused, and that's not what she means.
Jamila is a language. Jamila is a language. It is a language.
But no, nevertheless. So I think over time it's become that great, partnership, if you will, and just that what I would like to call powerhouse.
Yeah.
That we're proud of, and again, we'll share over time. We'll share various successes and failures and lessons learned along the way.
It's really a true ride or die mentality though, because we went all to the top. We've been to the bottom of the gutter.
It's been interesting.
Looking at each other and going, dang man, I don't know how we're going to get through this. Right. And so
it's been interesting.
Yeah. And we just kind of hold on, and we've jumped together. And, I used to work with my previous spouse, and I swore I would never do it again. And to take that leap of faith to do it with you is probably the best decision I ever made.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Probably,
I know.
Definitely was the best decision
I know you were leery about it. Like, do you really want to? So you enjoy being in my space every day, and drive you around. I do all kinds of. I just do a lot of stuff.
Seriously, I'm truly spoiled. But
she wouldn't eat lunch if it wasn't for me.
I wouldn't. I would be working all the way through. So yeah, that's kind of that's in a nutshell. We'll be digging into some of that, right? We'll be digging into some of the crazy high volume conversations that we've had. Challenges.
The reality show material.
No,
type stuff,
I don't know about reality show material, but definitely the challenges we've had, overcoming those tough decisions. But at the same time, we're also going to dig into, the what, right? Starting a business, what does that take? Yeah. What does that look like? What do you have to look out for? growing a business, scaling, raising capital, mergers and acquisitions, something that we've used as a growth strategy for our company, making the Inc. 5000 on Forbes. I mean, we
all kind of stuff,
and then we're also going to be talking to other couples like us who have also face the same things that we face, the same challenges, and how they've overcome its successes, failures. And hey, these couples also have businesses that, that are different from ours, right? And so we're going to dig into how they got into their stuff. And but those aspiring to go into different parts of that business, we're going to dig into how to do that.
But it's interesting because people do ask us, like, how do you enjoy working with your spouse? And would you advise that? And some people decided not to, not because of us. They just, bounced it off of us. Other people have explored it. Some people are still exploring it and trying it, but it's not for everybody though.
It's not for everybody, but we attract couples. Like our office, our brokerage has about 7 husband and wife teams. And most of the time they join us because of us.
We find that out later.
We find that out later, and we love it because we feel like there's just quick stats. The divorce rate in general is 30%. In the United States, right?
It's probably double that.
For couples who work together, it's 50%. That means if you work with your couple, you have basically added 20% more to the possibility that you guys will not make it or may not make it. So you're 50% less likely to make it in your marriage. And so this is also therapy for us too, because I believe that the more we talk about it, the more we talk to other couples, the better we become as a couple, the more better we become as business owners and leaders in the community.
And just as individuals. I think we evolve. I know that we do.
Absolutely.
We've evolved. I mean, when you look at kind of from when we first met all the way to now, I mean, just watching each other along the way and just helping be that rock and that support. And also that what do I say, mirror, so to speak, the truth, the honest truth.
He holds me accountable.
No, vice versa. I think. To be fair, I think we're definitely each other's champion, but we're also each other's most respected critic.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's super important as we build wealth, not just as a couple, but as a Black couple, which is something that we're also very interested in ensuring that people see this and understand that it's very possible to be able to do this and thrive and scale and grow a multi-million-dollar business and still be happy without sacrificing who you are as an individual, without sacrificing who you are as a couple, and still have that balance. I think it's super important. Yeah. We don't get it right all the time.
Oh no, but we learn.
We learn. And
we call ourselves learning fast or failing fast and then recovering. So that's what we definitely try to espouse to others and say, hey, just go ahead and fail fast and then recover and then figure it out and, get back on the horse, so to speak.
Exactly. So, that's us in a nutshell. We're the Winseys. And next episode, we're going to be continuing this conversation about us and mostly about our entrepreneurial journey. We're going to talk about some of the failures and, how we overcame them, some of our biggest successes, the story of how we got to where we are today. And as the episodes continue to roll, we'll be talking to other couples like us and weaving bonus content. Our goal really, again, and I know I'm repeating myself, is for us to focus on those individuals who have basically scaled the mountains and are successful. We want to hear from them. We want to learn from them, but we also want you to learn about little tricks and tips and things that we've had to do to get us to this point and hopefully get us further. And our goal is to go further with our audience as well. So
yeah, definitely. We want to be inspired. We want you all to be inspired. I think I know for a fact there's value in all of it. And again, we just feel like the stuff we want to share, our lessons along the way. So I'm definitely excited about it. I'm looking forward to, I don't get excited about much. So
no, you don't.
Kind of status
really.
quo or even, so, but it's just when we decided to do this, I'm definitely, excited about it. So
yeah, I'm excited about it too. We'll see you at part 2, which will be episode 2 of Winding Down with the Winseys. We'll talk soon. Bye.